Hello and welcome to the Links Lives Natters podcast. I'm Shelley, your host, chief natterer and lover of all things Lincolnshire.
Hi, and I'm Mandy, your partner in chat, occasional troublemaker, and here to keep Shelley on her toes, and native Lincolnshire Yellow Valley.
What are you saying, Mandy?
You're not from here.
Yes, but I can talk about all things Lincolnshire, can't I?
Well, we'll see.
Oh, I see how it is. Well, you're in for a real treat today because we've got plenty to natter about. Local stories, a bit of banter, and who knows, maybe even a scandal or two. Or at least a mildly interesting fact. And I know with our guest today, we're going to get some very interesting information.
That's right. So whether you're listening on your morning commute, out walking the dog, or just having a well-earned break with a brew, stick around. We've got a cracking episode coming up.
Yes, we have, Mandy. So I will just tell you a little bit of information about our guest. Today, we're nattering with Rachael Audrey Clark-Harris, an artist, musician, mental health advocate, and who's on a powerful journey of self-discovery and creative expression. Rachael, welcome to the Links Lives Natters podcast.
Hello, how are you doing?
We're really well, aren't we, Mandy?
Very
We're
good, yeah.
excited to talk to you today.
We certainly are.
So shall we kick off questions, Mandy?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, Rachael, you've spoken candidly about your experience with BPD. What do you wish more people understood about the condition? How do you challenge the misconceptions? Tell us a little bit about your journey with BPD.
Okay, so I only got diagnosed last summer, and it was actually not called BPD. That is kind of like the most commonly sort of known description. It's called emotional unstable personality disorder as well. So basically, I knew all my life that I had extreme highs and lows. And a lot of people, you say, I think you're bipolar, and I'm like, no, I don't think so.
People are very quick to judge, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, I spent a lot of my life in tears, and I would get very, very emotional about anything, like it would be something that triggered me that would start it off, obviously. But, I would get so upset that it would make me withdraw from what I was doing. I often take myself away and go and lay on my bed and just cry myself to sleep. That's how I used to cope. And when my mum was alive, bless her, she died 2 years ago, I felt like my world had ended as well, losing her, because I think she was like my rock, and she was the only one that really knew the real me, because I'm very good at putting a mask on in front of people, and I've done that.
I think as women, Rachael, we're all very good at putting that mask on because we don't want to show our true selves sometimes, don't we?
And we do live in a man's world, don't we? So, a lot of men don't show emotion or find it difficult because of the way they're told to be brought up, So I think, there's this point where I was in a very high-powered sort of like London job, and I consider it high-powered. It was a great job. And, when you're working in that environment, you don't really think that there are there's no real time for sort of tears. And, but that was quite difficult for me because it's something that's obviously it's my core way of dealing with things. Some people get angry. Mine is emotional, proper crying, but it does get it out. It gets it out.
What's the turning point that led you to seek a diagnosis, do you think?
Well, I'd had, I'd had various burnouts throughout my career due to just not being able to manage, expectations, probably that I put on myself as well. That's one of the things, is like thinking that you've got to be perfect and always striving to be an achiever, high achiever. I am, it doesn't affect that side of me. But I'd had enough really of feeling like that. Suicidal thoughts. I actually attempted to kill myself. Yeah. And it's embarrassing because, people don't know that about me. Only the really close people know that. And
we are very grateful for you sharing with that, that very emotional.
Yeah, well,
you've just shared with us, Rachael. So well done.
Yeah, and I do believe that in talking about these things, it can only help other people come out and talk about them, because that's where we all go wrong, is that we just try and clam up and hide and too ashamed to speak out. So yeah, being honesty is one of my strengths. I can be really honest about stuff, and I think that's where I can help other people with my honesty and my human interpretation of things. I'm very real. What you see is what you get, and I irritate some people with that, but I don't want to be someone that, is fake. I can't deal with fake people.
Yeah.
Rachel, what do you think workplaces need to do to better to support employees with mental health conditions?
I think a lot of them have got all the right things in place. I think the truth is, a lot of the time, it's workload and it's things that, go unmissed. It's when people go quiet and things like that. There are, I think there just needs to be maybe like monthly catch-ups with people just to check in and
check in,
it's about the work, check in about how you're doing. Make sure that it's not an embarrassing thing to be able to say those things. And I think we are getting there, obviously, but sometimes lots of individuals probably find that that's a weakness to be able to do that, because then they might have someone, I don't think it is, but as creatives, we go into the business world, and it's a very different machine. They don't always work 9 to 5, like their brains don't always function that way. Creativity sometimes, depending on what
12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning.
you're for quite a lot. And I have all the best ideas, but I think maybe flexibility about how creatives actually work and what times they work and things like that. And, it doesn't necessarily fit into a business working day.
Yeah, so you need to be getting paid for sort of the times that you get these ideas as well. That'd be a good thing, wouldn't it?
Or in that case, I'll be getting paid at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning then.
Exactly.
When I'm sitting up going, bidding, I've just had an idea and stuff. But it's like Rachel says, sometimes it's early hours of the morning, you just think, I'm having this idea. And I always get told, turn your brain off. But it's creativity, isn't it, Rachel? It's inspirations at that sort of time at the morning. I'm going to take you right back, Rachel, to your job in London. Explain about your job in London and what you think, that was the burnout.
Well, I'd lived in London for 5 years, and I worked for several companies, and they're all really, fast paced. It's that kind of environment. I had it was accumulation. I can't say it. There were
accumulation
of things that had hit. I think we were a little bit understaffed on our team at the time. I was just struggling generally. I think now I know I've got BPD. I know that we have slumps and we have proper times where we just go into a hole. And I think I didn't really recognize that, and I just thought I was fed up and blah 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 blah. That happened, so I got signed off with anxiety and stress. It's often the way it gets diagnosed as that. And
doctors are very quick to diagnose stress, aren't they, without really asking questions?
Yeah, I mean, stress is probably the end result of where the whole thing stems from, but then so I signed off. My mum wasn't very well. She was basically having really bad headaches and losing her balance and things like this. So she was in hospital. I was actually away with my husband. He took me away for my birthday to try and get some country air, and being really supportive. He wasn't my husband then, but is now. But yeah, he was like, you need some respite. Let's go away and do some dog walks and all that sort of thing. So I was there, and I thought, I haven't heard from my mum, Anyway, came back, found out that my mum's in hospital. My family protected me because they knew that I was in a delicate position anyway, like mentally. But then obviously found out that this was quite serious. And put it this way, about 3 weeks later, I remember it distinctly, my brother coming up the stairs and he said, Rachel, Rachel. And I was like, what? And he was like, Mum's got terminal cancer. She's got to live. So yeah.
How does that feel when somebody says that words to you, Rachel? Like, wow, And obviously your family were trying to protect you.
Um, it's been really hard lately, actually. Sorry.
It's still quite raw, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
to you and
Yeah,
things.
it
But I
is.
know you channel your emotions in to your work.
Yeah, I do. Well, you know, I've used it, and what can I say? Like, it was a hard time. We got through it. We did everything we could, but that was 3 years ago now, nearly 3 years. It was 2022 in December. So we had a really difficult time, and obviously the 2 weeks saying goodbye. And then what happened after that was 6 months later, I fell down the stairs backwards into a picture frame, and the picture frame was had a recess where it
Yeah.
was glass front to it. I hit that with my back. I was wearing only a nightie, so nothing much to protect me,
Yeah.
and it shattered, and I got sliced through my back and my bottom. And then yeah, a piece of glass sort of like impaled into my back as well.
Oh
So
my God.
Did you think, God, life, give me a break?
I did. At that moment though, in time, I was just literally in shock, and I screamed for my husband, and he was upstairs. And I just want you to realize as well, I wasn't coping well with life prior to this. So I was drinking heavily, and I'm actually 5 months sober now.
Oh, amazing.
Congratulations, Rachel.
That's amazing.
Life is so much better, and
Big deal.
I've realized how much it was holding me back. And it's one of the worst things as well if you've got something like BPD, because it accentuates the emotions and it makes you feel worse.
See, at the
But you have,
time, that was your go-to, wasn't it?
It was, and probably, if I'm honest, throughout my life. I mean, my family, I was brought up in an alcohol, it was a perfectly acceptable
yeah,
socializing thing, which it is in most people's in England. I think it's a very British thing to
yeah,
drink for celebrations, drink for death, or drink, it's any reason to have a drink, really.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong, if you can cope with that, and that's fine, but I couldn't, and it had got to the point where something bad was going to happen, and it did. And that was the biggest wake-up call of my life. And when you're laid on the floor and you can feel something warm, like pumping out of your own body onto your arm, and you realize it's warm, and you're like, this is blood. You're like, hang on a minute, I haven't got long if someone doesn't sort me out soon. So shouted my husband, came down. He literally went into shock, couldn't speak. And I said, Nick, you need to ring the ambulance now. And I was only just about there anyway, because I was passing out. They were going to ambicup me, but they didn't. They ended up taking me by ambulance, and they took me to Nottingham. So yeah, I was at
Sort of
Queen.
major trauma centre.
Yeah, because they specialize with back injury as well. Because obviously we didn't know if I'd like damaged my spinal cord.
mm,
Everything was so close to and right in the center of the back, you've got all your major organs as well. So I
yeah,
could have come out with a colostomy bag. There was all sorts of talk about what could happen. So I went into this operation, 5 hours, and my husband, well, my fiance at the time, my dad and my brother, they all rushed there, and they had to wait all that time. And obviously, having gone through with what we went through with mum, and then for them to do it again in a way, it was awful
yeah.
for the family. Yeah.
Do you
But
think, do you think that point made you shock into doing something about it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And I did
So,
see.
you obviously you've had those traumas and things, Rachel, and stuff like that. Do you think the grief and the trauma shaped your artistic style? Do you think, yes, I need to try and pull myself out of this and go in, that artistic direction?
Absolutely, I would say it's carved out a new area of art for me, because I didn't even know how to do mosaic art. I literally tried it as something as a escapism when I'd seen something at the Yorkshire Sculpture Park.
Why mosaics, Rachel? What attracted you to the mosaics?
I don't really know what it was initially, but I'd seen
Was it
this.
the shiny colours, Rachel?
Well, I think I'm a bit of a magpie. Yeah. Drawn to bright colours. I think anyone with, like artistic vibes, I think how can you not be drawn to bright? Um, there was a, I can't remember who made the sculpture, but there was a Buddha at the Yorkshire Sculpture Park, and it was covered in mosaic. So it was
That would have
mosaic.
been amazing to see that.
Yeah,
Mm.
it was fabulous, and I came away from that thinking I want to do a mosaic. I'm going to have a go. So
Yeah.
I did. I had to go in the garden. I designed it myself because obviously I've got the design background, which comes in brilliantly, when it comes to prepping and everything. So did that, really loved it. Then I got my first sort of like taste, and I think not knowing that I was ever drawn to that sort of thing. I know I've always come from a background where I like to explore everything and all different types of art, mediums, everything. But I think I was actually, when I look back now, I think I was actually ready to either do something different or do something that had to be more me, like I think there was a yearning for me to use my own IP.
Are there any movements that inspire your work in mental health trauma?
Um, I do think that so I really love the arts crafts movement. I think there's a lot of handmade and for me, it's not so much about trauma, but like for me, the essence, I've learned a lot about the essence of using your hands to make things is therapy. It is,
Yeah.
it's thing. It's the same as if you go out and put your hands and start gardening. It's the same as if you sew something. You're doing something that's methodical and your brain engages in that action. It's the same with doing a puzzle or a mosaic's pretty similar. It's like
Yeah.
going, that piece is there. And all you're doing is getting lost in that
Yeah.
exercise,
Escape, isn't it?
escapism. And it's very, very natural and it comes very I think it's a primal thing. Yeah, I mean, even like building, when we're children, what do? We like to build blocks. We like to, put things like Lego together. We like to make things from lots of things, don't we? As
Yeah.
I think that is a therapeutic.
Do you think like taking you back to the mosaics and things like that, is that why you think you like joining the mosaics together? Because one of the pieces of art you've done was at the Dorber Gardens, wasn't it? Do you want to explain a little bit about? Because I know it's something that's very special to you.
It is. So the Bird of Paradise, it's the Strelitzia. They're a triptych piece. So we've got three panels and they're quite large. I used all recyclable, well, it was all reused tiles that I managed to get donated to me. So I didn't have a budget. And the Dorber Garden said that they would give me some money towards like the grout and stuff like that. But obviously they're a trust. They don't have that sort of money to just pay for everything that they want. And we spoke about it and they said, oh, that'd be lovely because the section of the garden it was going to go into was going to be like the tropical sort of end. So, and my mum was, well, she was born in England, but she went over to South Africa when she was like 1 year old. So she was brought up around those native plants, and
Oh,
they sort of like for me, it became a depiction of my mum in a way.
mm.
'Cause it was bright. Well, she was used to wear bright clothes and
Bit of a
pattern.
tribute to her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and for me, it ended up being a memory, a place where I can go instead because we don't have a gravestone, and I kind of think that's a bit outdated anyway.
Rachel, how did you get involved with the Dorber Gardens? How, why, who, where, what?
So after Mum died, I was quite lost. I'd go walking with the dog, and the lawns are just about 15 minutes walk from me.
It's
Um,
for people that don't know, this is a um building sort of garden in centre of Lincoln, would you say? Just sort
It's a community trust driven garden called the Dover Garden, and it is within the lawns. So where Charlotte House is, the hotel, and Stokes Coffee, it's in the lawned area and it's on Union Road. So yeah,
Oh,
it's almost a little bit secret. You don't always know it's there. So many people say, "What?"
I didn't actually know it was there until I started
no.
talking to you and think, oh, I didn't know that was here. It's like it's surprising when you live somewhere. There's all these hidden things you don't know about, isn't it?
And a lot of people say it's a hidden gem, and it really is.
No.
Well, it is because it's got your artwork in it.
Thank you. Well,
You
um,
know,
yeah, I volunteer basically try my best to bring some artwork in there and to, add a little bit of culture in a different way, because I think it's nice to have that element in a public space. And yeah, lots of people have mentioned that, they find joy in it and they really appreciate it. So I think there's something positive out of something that was fairly sad, but it's brought joy, and it's almost like a rebirth, isn't it? It's like,
That
Yeah.
must make you feel really happy to know that you're bringing joy to so many people when they're looking at your artwork.
yeah, I do, because even the children are really drawn to it. I've seen a few photographs where children are actually up close and they're touching it because it's so vibrant. And yeah, I mean, it's stimulating if you see bright colors like that, and they're in lots of shapes. And I think, yeah, children really enjoy it.
At the Thrive Tribe, we believe everyone deserves the chance to soar. Whether you're an individual seeking self-improvement or a business aiming for success, we've got you covered. Personalised coaching. Unlock your potential with our expert coaches. One-on-one guidance tailored to your unique goals. Learn flexibly online. Boost your skills from Microsoft Office mastery to work-based expertise. Lifelong learning? We've got the keys. So whether you're an aspiring professional, a business leader, or simply hungry for growth, join the Thrive Tribe today. Visit thethrivetribe.com and let's ignite your journey. Remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. The Thrive Tribe, where potential meets possibility.
Hey there, Lincolnshire business owners. Struggling to be found online? Still buried on page 3 of Google? Wondering if anyone's even looking? Well, stop stressing and join the Lincolnshire Business Directory. It's completely free to join, and you'll finally start getting noticed. Think of it like shouting from the hilltops, but digitally. Want to really make a splash? For just £99, you can upgrade to a premium listing and get in front of more eyes. You'll be the talk of the town. It's super easy. Pick a plan, create your listing, and boom, you're live. Customers will be finding you faster than you can say SEO. Head to www.lincolnshirebusinessdirectory.co.uk. Don't miss out. Your customers are waiting.
What's your exciting projects you're working on at the moment?
So it's the Latitude Festival. They put out, it was you who actually kindly sent me.
I don't know who told you about this, Rachel.
Yes, so you sent me that, and it was basically to create an area within there's a peaceful garden, peaceful woodland area at the festival where they want to have like a small art installation. It's only 1.5 meters square. But it's the brief was to design a place of zen to bring tranquility and a respite area for people coming back from like the chaos of the
So
festival.
when you're rocking out to
Wow.
the music, everything else, you get the chance of downtime. Having seen the plans, I'm really excited. I'm
Yeah.
really excited for the plans. Do you want to tell us a little bit? Not too much, Rachel. Keep them
Oh,
guessing, but not
yeah.
too much.
Well, I did actually. I've become very close friends with the chair lady from the Dover Gardens. Her name's Lynn Ritson. She's been an absolute rock for me, I have to say. And she's great at gardening. So I had this vision, and so did she. And we talked about it, and yeah, we've kind of come up with this idea, and I put it all to work with the designing and the painting and everything. So yeah, the idea is a Zen koi pond, and it will be made of mosaic.
So
So,
all the fishes will be mosaic in the pond.
uh, so
So without having actual fishes, there'll be mosaic fishes, Mandy,
That's amazing.
isn't
uh,
it? She's so
Yeah,
clever, this
I
lady.
know. Not fair.
well, I'm not always the one that comes up with the great ideas, but I'm good at translating them into a design and into like a document to try and sell the idea. I suppose that's probably comes from my background in, design and sales. I suppose it is that you're pushing an idea, aren't you? Uh,
Yeah.
so
And one
yeah,
of the things we can mention now, because me and
yeah.
Rachel do chat, and one of the things we are excited about, and it's happened, hasn't it, Rachel?
Yes, so I am a creative in residence at Dorber at the Barbican Creative Hub in Lincoln. Yeah, so back in November, I was aware that the applications were open to apply for a studio space. I'm currently working in my cellar, so it was quite a strong case for me. I think, no natural light, etc. But I got a place. I'm out of 40 people. There are 5 studios, and I was very lucky to get one. And
Brilliant. Well done.
thank
Really
you.
well done.
I feel incredibly proud, and
I know how proud you are for this. I know you're really excited.
I put so much into it. I won't lie. I put everything into it to try and get that. And
Knowing Rachel, she definitely 110%ed it.
yeah, well, if I want something, I focus and I really go for it. Usually, yeah.
What are your plans for the Barbican? What do you hope to get out of having the residents in the Barbican?
Well, I want to soak up as much information as possible. I want to be able to like elevate myself as a business, because I might be an artist, but I am a business still. And I want to be able to build this year to create a collection of work that will hopefully move people. And I want it to be a bit radical. I want it to make people really question how they feel about traumas, and if it has any resonance with themselves or people that they know. So often it's like when you know someone who's in a wheelchair, then you start to see everything through their eyes. But if you don't know, you don't notice it, do you?
No.
So it's like the education. It's like the it's the communication about things that makes us open up and wake up to stuff. And
Yeah, is that the impact of the Scars body of work, Rachel?
yeah, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. I decided on this title to work under. So it is a physical and psychological response to scars. So that encapsulates everything that I've been through in the sense of grief, burnouts, my mental health. It's been a battle for my whole life, so it's pretty significant. And then obviously the physical scars and how that affected me and how it's affected
And you just want people to see it, to sort of like, what sort of mediums will you be working with on that body of work, Rachel?
Predominantly, I'm going to be using my mosaics. And I think this is quite exciting because I don't think many people would explore such traumas and things like that with mosaics necessarily. I think it's usually, it's more beautiful things that we see that are mosaics or stories. But my stories are going to be a little bit more graphic, a little bit more unusual. I'm going to also support that with some videography. I'm also going to support that with some photography that's going to be quite graphic as well. I'm going to be recreating some of like the scenes, so to speak, and have the photos taken. Another thing that I did, which I've fully embraced and felt that it was so therapeutic for me, was I modelled nude for an art class at the South Side in Lincoln.
Did you?
She did indeed.
That is brave.
Yeah, and I'm not my body is not like a conventional, like I'm not a model. I'm not a model, but I'm a fuller figured woman, and I always have had massive issues with my weight. Always thinking, I think I've got body dysmorphia anyway. I've always thought I'm bigger than what I am, and I've been teased over the years. So once you've had those things, dated a guy who then met me and then said, "You're a lot bigger than you looked in your pictures."
Why? Well, I know this is going off topic. We've hit the loose women thing. I know this is going off topic. Why do people do that on dating agencies? Dating profiles and stuff like that. They get to know the person, and it's sort of like, as soon as they meet you, ooh.
I'm just glad that I actually met my husband through real life, actually. And I think once I stopped looking and I stopped
Yeah.
Yeah.
to find someone, that's when we met. And he was the same. He had stopped. He'd said, I had enough of relationships that hadn't worked, and a lot of those had been through apps. And same with me. And I think, yeah, COVID made me do that as well, because I had to sort of live on my own for 2 years with my little dog, and I found myself a little bit more through that time. And I think you're
Mm.
into it, really.
I think a lot of people did during that time because obviously we were stuck at home, weren't we? People couldn't go to work. We were stuck at home. We were sort of like clicking the fingers, and it was sort of like, well, what am I going to do? Dare I go out? You know, because society had it. The police would like nab you as soon as you walked out the door, wouldn't it? It was just sort of like, I daren't drive down the street today.
Exactly. So you had to get on with it, didn't you? You had to sort of like, well, you have to become your own best friend, really.
Yeah, you got to like
Yeah.
yourself, haven't you? Got to like spending time with yourself.
Is that when? Did you find yourself singing during that time, Rachel?
I actually did. So yeah, I've sang most of my life as well. And when I say I'm a creative, I literally am all creative. If you throw maths at me, I go into meltdown mode, and yeah, it just throws me. So I think I've got the number dyslexic thing.
Dyscalculia.
So I think I've got that.
Yeah.
Because I've been really quite good at most of the things. Like
I think my other half thinks that when I walk into a supermarket. It's like, yes, what are you spending this on now? So I could say that, Rachel. I have that. You know, I spend too much. But tell me a bit more about the singing because it's a bit more than we're joking, but it is a bit more involved for you, isn't it?
Yeah. I have sang all my life, and I've been in lots of bands. And when I lived in London, I used to frequent the open mic nights, and I've written my own music as well. Well, I'm more of a lyricist, I would say, because I can't play an instrument as such, but I've got good ideas for, melodies and stuff like that. I've worked with loads of musicians. I've done everything from record happy hardcore back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and
I told you we'd get a scandal. I
yeah.
tell you, we got something.
I wasn't even into happy hardcore, but they wanted a vocalist that could sing like a good singer,
I
and
knew she'd shock me.
uh,
I wasn't expecting that to come out, Rachel.
No.
yeah, it's actually quite good. I quite like the lyrics as well. Yeah, so I've done that. I've done oh gosh, I've done like covers. I'm over covers. I've done that. I've got the t-shirt. I don't it's
Yeah.
not, but I wrote a few songs last year. One was called The Sign. Um, and it's all about like waking up and figuring out what, stop, look, listen, everything's telling me, trusting myself to get it done. Everything's going my way. It's about really realizing that the universe is like guiding me and saying, look, come on, catch up now,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then I think once you identify where you really think you are supposed to be going, it's like really freaking grabbing hold of those reins and going for it, and that's what I'm going to do this year. Like with this opportunity, it's not going to come around again. It's 1 year, it's going to fly. And
Absolutely.
I'm prepared not to even go on holiday. I'm going to be like, just go for it, because mosaics aren't quick either. So if I'm going to do the stuff
No.
I want to do, I've got to really crack on.
Mm.
And so the music side of things, I have had public airplay through BBC Radio Introducing. It's been local, like Lincolnshire, Nottinghamshire, that kind of thing, East Midlands.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I've had a few bits. I've got a SoundCloud account, and again, I've never really elevated that side of me, but I do believe that like music, my musicality and my art are all one, because for me, my lyrics, I've written lyrics all my life, and they've often been a reflection of difficult times for me.
I was going to say, do you think it's
Yeah.
creative expression?
Yeah, and one of the things that I want to do for my exhibition at the end of this year is to actually include some
An exhibition?
yeah, that's basically what I'm planning to do at the end of the year. So And I'm really hoping that that is going to be something that I can then take away and tour with. I would like to become someone that I can tour with my message and my artwork. And there's a song that I'm going to record as well, and it's not going to be something that you're going to put on the radio necessarily, but
It's going to come with a message.
it's going to fit with the exhibition, and it's going to like, what's the word? Encompass the message. It's about falling, and it's about falling, and so it's definitely got different meanings. So like my mind, when I start to fall, I know that I'm falling into depression. There's that sense of things. There's a lot of different meanings to that. So, and I'm really looking forward to working with someone to do that. So
Yeah, because you're very good at telling your story and stuff, and I know she's very good at it. People, struggle to share their stories personally. What made you decide to use your voice to raise awareness? Why, if you had to give advice to anybody, Rachel, how would you say they raise their voices if they're sort of struggling?
I think I kind of felt like I was sick of explaining myself to people, why I got so emotional or why things happened that, people were like, but you're so confident, there's this, and that people didn't understand. So I think to actually really come out and explain the reason to everybody it's empowering, and it also makes me think, well, no one can question me anymore.
Yeah.
And other people can do that, then you're owning yourself, you're owning what you are. And I'm sick and tired of hearing people saying, oh, oh, everyone has to have what is it called, like, I don't know, that everyone has to have a mental health issue these days. And I'm like, but this is the world we're living in. It makes me really angry. Why do you think that is? Because we're not living back in the 90s, 80s or 70s. We have got social media. This is all due to the different world we're living in. We're not
Yeah.
Yeah,
going to not have consequences for these things. And it
yeah.
winds me up when people start saying these things, because maybe they have got issues themselves, but they're just too
Yeah.
like unaware of their own mind. I know myself. I really know myself, and I'm glad I do, because I think a lot of people they walk around like zombies, not even aware how what they say has an effect. And
Yeah.
people need to learn to be so much more mindful about how they.
The world has changed, Rachel, like you said, hasn't it? I think post-COVID, and I hate saying that word, post-COVID, the world has changed. We have to change as people, and people have changed for the better, and people have changed for the worse.
Absolutely. And I think
I,
the school system also, I really think the schooling, I don't think that's necessarily right for everyone either. I
No.
think that I really think the education system needs to look at things. And I think that there should be a more creative route for some people. And, look, why do kids go to school so young? They need to just be playing and exploring, and,
Yeah. In other countries in Europe, they don't start even till 7, I think, age of 7.
yeah, absolutely. And the main, we're putting kids into like a uniformed mentality where everything's supposed to be the same, and nothing in life is the same. Like, no one's the same as each other. We're
No.
similar.
I think a
Oh,
lot of children are also punished for being expressive. They're different. They exhibit different traits and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've experienced it with my own family. They try and just put everybody in a category. They don't fit, and they keep trying and trying until kids explode, and then they wonder why. And then there's no going back. Then they just get worse. It's awful. So it needs to start then.
yeah, it does. And
If you're sporty or if you're arty or created or whatever, let them just excel.
stuff like this, right? One size shoe, it doesn't fit all. It's that whole thing in it. One size doesn't fit all. Um, I think as well, when it comes to secondary school, it changes dramatically from junior school. Like, there's the element of play and experimentation, and I don't know, what's the word?
Transition is quite abrupt, isn't it? It's can't
Yeah,
think of the word. It's
formulaic, isn't it? It's very,
yeah,
and I do think as well, you know, my stepson, he was saying, I really don't want to take a language, and he doesn't like it. He doesn't feel like he's using his skills to his best. And I'm like, do you have to? And he's like, yeah, I have to take
yeah,
one.
they do, yeah.
Do
Well,
they
why?
really?
Why?
But
I
I know
don't have
people,
children, so I don't
but I
know.
know people, my own family struggle with English, so you know, why not give them extra English so they or whatever, but they
Yeah.
then force them into a language. Well, they're struggling with the first language to the GCSE degree. So why would you then say bring in a language?
I think when children are creative, they should be allowed to express their creativity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Really.
almost feel that there should be two different, you know, type of secondary schools. There should be like a more creative route, and then there should be a more academic route. Like if someone's absolutely 100% creative like me, I was 100% creative, singing, you know, I did drama and I did art. My results said it all. I got
Yeah.
two A level
Wow.
in
Wow.
and art. And I went
Wow.
to do a foundation in art and design, and I went to do my textile and surface pattern degree, and I got a first. So, and I found it like second nature. If
Yeah.
I do that in anything else, there's no way I would have. And I think the trouble is as well, society generally, it's oh, you can't get a job in that, you know, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you're going to spend your life doing something that you don't like, you more than likely are going to get depressed.
Frustrated, depressed. Why not just put all your efforts into what you know? Because you are going to go into that field of some kind. And if you're not, then you're still going to probably do it as a hobby.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it can
I
build
mean,
into a business, can't it?
what advice would you give to somebody looking to tap into their creative side? Because obviously you've got your residency at the Barbican, which we can't wait for you to get started on that. And where can people find out more about you?
Well, the advice I would say is to don't be scared and know that you don't have to be perfect at anything to try it. And the only way
Society would have you be perfect, though, wouldn't it?
oh yeah, and let's face it, we're all trying our best to fit into the mold. And I think the sooner that we just let go and be happy within ourselves I know it's easy to say, but you know, does it take something drastic to happen to you to really make you like realize that you're all right and your life's actually pretty good? I think it sometimes does.
Yeah, it does.
Appreciation and to be grateful for what you have got. And I think we're always striving for more, but don't just pick up a pen and paper. Like honestly, you'd be surprised how many people say they're not creative and they can actually put their hand to something, even if it's gardening. I believe in social prescribing as well. I really think that
Yes.
people and for their mental health.
Because you're quite an advocate for it, aren't you?
Yeah, I spoke about it actually at the Lincoln Arts Centre. They had I spoke at a seminar at the Lincoln Arts Centre, and that was basically promoting social prescribing, and everybody after the seminar actually got to experience all different types of workshops. So there was a music workshop, gardening, walking, drums. I played the drums. It was great. And all
You
these
could
things,
actually have a set of
Some
drums to play on.
yeah, they had
Wow.
these, the leather drums with the skins that are stretched over the top.
Oh, yeah.
Even something as simple as that, apparently, when you get into a heartbeat rate, it mimics your own heartbeat and it puts you at ease. And it's stuff like that. You don't realize it again, primal probably.
it grounds you, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So the Dorber Gardens, for example, they have volunteer days on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and they get there around 10 o'clock. Anyone can go. They don't have to have skills. They can
Wow.
sweep up, they can do a bit, they can learn how to, prune things. It doesn't matter. It's a community thing as well. And
You don't know what you're good at, do you? You don't know. So you've got to try, and that, you might just find something that you love.
I was lucky. I had parents that, brought me up in the garden, showing me stuff. My grandma was like that. She loved nature. What if you've been brought up in a family that never had a garden or not
Yeah,
interested?
block of flats or,
They
you know,
want
space.
Yeah. Yeah. So go along, try it out. It might really excite you. And I say the same about anything creative. Give it a go and don't be scared to try things because it doesn't matter if you fail either. And what is failure? Who judges that? Who is going to teach you that's wrong? It might be yourself that you battle with as your own judge, but
Yeah.
that's up to the individual. Like I'm probably my own worst nightmare for that. It's
I
like,
think we're all guilty of that.
yeah, but you
I
can,
think,
I think, like you say, we all put pressure on ourselves, don't we?
oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So where can we find you? What socials are you on, Rachel?
So
Where
I'm
can
on
we?
Instagram. So if you can find me under Rachel Audrey Clark Harris. Clark Harris has got a little
She's very proud of this, Clark Harris.
Yeah, I am proud of it. But I think I'm going to, at some point, I'm going to change everything to just being Rach.
All Rachel's links will be available on our podcast and our social. Once again, thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks so
Thank you,
much.
Mandy, for joining me once again in our complete world of chaos.
Thank you, Shelley. It's been lovely to speak to you, Rachel.
I appreciate it. And thanks for your time, both of you.